Britain First is a far-right British nationalist political party and movement formed in 2011 by former members of the British National Party. Britain First campaigns primarily against mass immigration and against what it sees as the Islamification of the United Kingdom, instead advocating Christian social conservatism. The group is influenced by Ulster loyalism and has a vigilante wing called the Britain First Defence Force. It rose to prominence by taking direct action such as protests outside homes of Islamists, and what it describes as Christian patrols, and invasions of British mosques. The party was founded by Jim Dowson, an anti-abortion campaigner linked to loyalist militants. History: Britain First was created by Jim Dowson, who ran a call centre in Dundonald, East Belfast for the British National Party. Dowson's links with the BNP as a fundraiser ended acrimoniously in October 2010 when he was accused of groping a female activist. Dowson, a former Calvinist minister, is a Scottish Christian fundamentalist. Based in Ballygowan, Northern Ireland, he also led an anti-abortion campaign, the UK Life League. Other former officials from the British National Party joined Dowson in the formation of Britain First. Its current chairman Paul Golding had been a councillor in Sevenoaks, Kent, in 2009 November representing the BNP, as well as the BNP's communications officer. Britain First was launched through the British Resistance website in May 2011. Others involved in Britain First's launch included the former South East regional organiser of the BNP, Andy McBride, and Kevin Edwards, a former BNP councillor and organiser in Wales. Britain First's Facebook page had 350,000 likes in July 2014, making it more popular than the pages of any of Britain's three major political parties. Hope Not Hate estimate that 2 million people per day interact with material from the Britain First Facebook page. National People's Party: in November 2011, Britain First announced the registration of a political party, the National People's Party, with Golding named as leader, Edwards as nominating officer and McBride as treasurer. However, the Electoral Commission register shows Britain First listed itself from November 2011 as a political party, with the same roles for the three officers, and no current or past listing for a National People's Party, so it is not clear whether the National People's Party has a separate existence. The Britain First website carries a constitution for the party stating, among other things, that the campaign group Britain First will be entitled to put forward a representative to sit on the Standing Committee, a six-person group tasked with the direction of the party and running all its affairs. Northern Ireland offshoot: the principal figures in Britain First, Dowson and Golding, launched a new political party in Northern Ireland in April 2013. Dowson was registered with the Electoral Commission as the Protestant Coalition's leader, and Golding as its treasurer. However, Dowson stated at the launch that the coalition had no one leader. Golding had flown into Belfast in December 2012 to help coordinate protests over the decision by Belfast City Council to limit the flying of the Union flag over Belfast City Hall. Dowson had been prominent in the protests, and at the time of the launch, was awaiting trial for public order offences, as was another of the coalition's founders, Willie Fraser. The website and logo of the Protestant Coalition closely resembled those of Britain First, although neither site explicitly mentioned an organisational link. 2014 European elections: in 2014, the party registered the phrase "Remember Lee Rigby" for use in the 2014 European elections. The chair of the Electoral Commission later issued an apology for the offence that has been caused by accepting the registration. When questioned by Andrew Neil on the BBC's Daily Politics of the offence caused to Rigby's mother, Paul Golding said, "We apologise to the mother of Lee Rigby, but it was a major act of terrorism, it was a big public event. He was a serving soldier." Britain First stood candidates for the 2014 European elections in Wales and Scotland. It encouraged English supporters, in the absence of a Britain First candidate, to instead vote for the English Democrats or the UK Independence Party, while warning against voting for the BNP. The party came 8th of 11 in Wales, with 6,633 votes, and 7th of 9 in Scotland with 13,639 votes. In Scotland, It performed better than the BNP. Departure of Jim Dowson. In July 2014, founder Jim Dowson left Britain First. The Daily Mirror wrote that Dowson left because of the party's mosque invasions, which he considered to be a Euro provocative and counterproductive Euro, as well as a Euro unacceptable and un-Christiana Euro and just as bad as Anjem Choudary. Paul Golding reacted to this by saying that Britain First was, as far as right-wing organisations go, relatively scandal-free Euro. Britain First itself denied the Mirror story, calling it chief communist newspaper and lover of all things anti-British. The party claimed to have published a farewell letter from Dowson, in which he cited fatigue and the safety of his family as his reasons to leave. Protests and actions. Anjem Choudary. In May 2013, following the murder of Lee Rigby, Britain First released a video threatening to place Islamist cleric Anjem Choudary under citizen's arrest if the Metropolitan Police would not arrest him. The Daily Mail claimed that the video had instead resulted in Choudary and his family being placed under police protection. Christian Patrol. In February 2014, Britain First conducted what it called the Christian Patrol in an area of Tower Hamlets, East London, with a high Muslim population, to counter continuing Muslim patrols which had first come to media attention in 2013. Around a dozen or so Britain First activists recorded themselves holding a banner proclaiming "We are the British Resistance," and emptying cans of beer outside a mosque to bait Islamic extremists operating in the area. A video uploaded onto social media showing the event gained national media attention in the UK, and the patrol was condemned by Muslim and Christian leaders in the area. Entry of mosques and distribution of leaflets and Bibles. In May 2014, members of Britain First entered 10 Bradford mosques, as well as in Glasgow, Luton and East London. They made statements of the action of perceived Muslim grooming gangs in the area, accusing the community elders of failing to stop the gangs, while handing out army Bibles and proselytizing Christianity and telling one member to reject the false prophet Muhammad and read the Bible. They also went to a Labour office to inform them that they had been warned. In response, Bradford West MP George Galloway said, "This is a grave and national issue. We demand full police action and protection of mosques and worshippers. Police are investigating." In July 2014, Britain First entered the Crayford Mosque in South London, demanding that its segregated entrances be removed, with Golding saying, "When you respect women we Euro unregistered trademark LL respect your mosques." A volunteer of the local Muslim association called Britain First, "filthy people creating trouble in our society." 2 addresses were raided in police investigation of this entrance, which led Britain First to protest at Bexleyheath police station. The group sought to gain publicity by stating that Golding was arrested for this protest, although the Metropolitan Police confirmed that they had spoken with him and no arrests had been made. Policies. Britain First's stated aim is to protect British and Christian morality, and is committed to preserving our ancestral ethnic and cultural heritage, while it also supports the maintenance of the indigenous British people as the demographic majority within our own homeland, that genuine British citizens will be put first in housing, jobs, education, welfare and health. It also campaigns against Islamism, immigration and abortion. Its claimed objective is to save this country and our people from the EU, politically correct, multicultural insanity that is now engulfing us. References. External links. Official website, Britain First on Facebook, Britain First Christians on Facebook.